All right, flat earthers, you have a theological problem in your argument there in your theology. You say we live in this glassy light dome thing that encapsulates the earth that you call the firmament. But look here, this is Genesis 1, verse 8, and this is the English translation of the Tanakh. So this is the Jewish scriptures, which, of course, the Old Testament comes from the Jewish scriptures as well. And the King James Version also will say basically the exact same way the Tanakh is worded here. It says, and the firmament is called heaven. So God called the firmament heaven. If the firmament is heaven, how can it be this glassy dome over the earth? Or are you saying that the firmament extends on forever from the earth? I mean, which is it? Is the firmament a dome-like object? Or are we in a carved out dome-like space inside of the firmament, and the firmament is absolutely everywhere? I mean, which one is it? Now, I know you all think it's a thin, or relatively thin, encapsulation of the earth because you say there's waters on the other side of the firmament. Because there's the firmament separates the waters from above from the ones below. So you can't say it's an expanse. So you have this thin little thing, and God called the firmament heavens. So if the firmament is the heavens, how are you saying this thin little dome type thing that encapsulates the earth is heaven? What's all the other stuff? Where's the throne room of God? Is the throne room of God inside the firmament then? I mean, which one is it? Now, see, this is the problem here. You flat earthers don't understand what the Bible actually says. In there, the word for firmament is rakia. And excuse me, I don't speak Hebrew, so I'm probably going to say the Hebrew words wrong. So rakia. Now, rakia can mean an extended surface, or it can mean an expanse. One of the two, depending on context, will tell you which one it's going to actually mean. And then the word heaven there, or heavens, if you take the word, the Hebrew word, it's like Shamayin or Shamayin, it's S-A-M or S-H-A-M-A-Y-I-M. That word right there can mean heaven. It can also mean sky. Okay, it can mean heaven or it can mean sky. Now, the KJV and the Tanakh choose to translate as heaven. Translating the sky is just fine as well, because the first physical heaven is the sky. The second physical heaven is the cosmological heaven. Then after that, you get to the celestial heavens, which the celestial heavens are not up. You know, you go up into the sky, keep going up, and you get into the cosmological heavens. The celestial heavens are outside of the physical heavens. But that's neither here nor there. That gets into a more deep discussion than what the book of Genesis reveals. But anyhow, if you take in context there, the translation is probably better done as, and God called the expanse sky. And then suddenly, the waters above and below the firmament or the expanse suddenly make a lot more sense. The waters above the expanse that God called sky would be the clouds. And the waters below the expanse that God called sky would be the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, and all the water beneath, including the groundwater. So as soon as you understand that the Hebrew there is not talking about some mythological glass dome that we all live in, and there's this infinitely large ocean that can engulf the entire earth sitting above this thin little thing that is called the firmament, that is also called heaven, which means now you have to put God's throne room inside the glass dome of the earth. Your theological argument breaks down. The only way that the Hebrew makes sense is if the firmament is the expanse of the sky, and the water above the firmament is the cloud cover, and the water beneath the firmament is the oceans and all the water down here on earth. And you see this in other places. It also says that God put the lights in the firmament. If you put them in the firmament, then you have to say that the sun and the moon and the stars are all in that thin, glassy-like dome that you say encapsulates the earth. Because it says it's in the firmament. Now, if the firmament is the sky, then the lights can be up in the sky. You guys need to take your understanding and not just apply it literally according to the words that you see, but you need to understand in context. So once again, I'm going to ask you, because you're in a theological conundrum there. I mean, you're not just in a scientific conundrum with your flat earth ideas. You guys are in a theological conundrum. How do you explain the firmament being the heavens if the firmament is this thin little dome over the earth, and, you have to explain God's throne room? Is God's throne room in the firmament? How is the sun and the moon and the stars all embedded in the firmament, but nowhere else out there? I mean, you can't say that the sun and the moon travel through the sky. They can't. They're restricted to the dome of this firmament that you see there, according to Genesis. So not only do you have scientific conundrums you got to overcome, you have theological conundrums you have to overcome. So how do you explain that, flat earthers? How do you explain the arguments I just made to you?